Yo, what's up, everybody? This is, I guess, my third video, right? Like a year later, whatever, months actually, not a year. What am I talking about? So last video I left off with the universe, and I was gonna go into peak week, right? So basically, what peak week is for bodybuilders, and why it's important is it's ensuring that you get your physique to look the best it absolutely can for the few minutes that you are on stage. So the week leading into the show, it requires a lot of meticulous planning, and you need to know what you're doing before you jump into peak week. Is really important. So how you should go about peak week, right? First off, you should be ready 2 weeks out, no later than that. If you come in ready, if you come in ready like the day of, your peak's probably not going to be as good as if you are ready 2 weeks out. The reason I say that is because then you don't have to change much going into the show. If you really like what you look like and you look phenomenal, ready to step on stage and win at 2 weeks out, where you want to be, then there's no reason to change much during your peak week. I mean, you still have to manipulate a few things here and there, but all in all, you don't have to do too much crazy manipulations. So, let's see. I guess we'll talk about water depletion, right? Or rather, 7 days out. So 7 days out, you're gonna want to start water loading. Okay, so if you're drinking a gallon and a half a day, which you should be if you're exercising 5 to 6 times a week and doing cardio every day, your water intake should be at least a gallon and a half. You should increase it at least another gallon starting 7 days out. Why I say that is because 3 days out, you're going to start having to reduce your water intake so you get a dry look, so you can see the striations under the skin. Okay, you need to be dry. I mean, if you're lean enough, you'll be able to see them, but you need to be dry on stage so it doesn't look like it's a small film of water over your muscle tissue. Um, it's hard to really explain if without showing a picture, but so you want to start loading that water. So for 3 days, you're gonna be at like two and a half to 3 gallons of water a day, and yes, you're gonna be going to the bathroom like 17 times an hour. Yeah, make sure you keep a gallon in your car. I'm not even joking about that. So, come 3 days out, that's when you want to start depleting your water. So, starting 3 days out, I like to go to 2 gallons. Okay. Then 2 days out, I like to drop to a gallon and a half. And then the day before, do a gallon and finish before like 7 o'clock. Okay. Then usually I'll have a shot of tequila and I'll be loading vitamin C. I'll explain that later on through the diuretics when I explain diuretics. So, um, you want to be depleted from carbohydrates, um, right up until about 4 days out. If you are, good on weight, you can really start loading those carbs 4 days out. If you are still above weight, you still have to make weight. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait to carb load till after you weigh in. So hopefully your weigh in is the day before. You have to check when that is. Usually the weigh in check in isn't the same thing. So, let's see. Yeah, so you're gonna be depleting carbs up until then, and then you're gonna want to start loading carbs 4 days out if you're good on weight. So what I like to do personally is I like to increase it small amounts. Since I'm so depleted, as soon as I start increasing carbs, my body's going to drop weight almost instantaneously. Usually 2 pounds like overnight. So say my weigh-in is 175. A week out, I like to be about 5 pounds under my weight cap. So I have room to just start carbing up earlier rather than later. If that makes sense. Okay, so each day I'll increase it by 20 grams of. I use rice as my carbs. It's the only form of carb that I eat because my stomach, I have IBS, so it's the only thing really that my stomach and digestive system can handle, my gut can handle. So I load up on that, add 20 grams extra rice per day, except the last day where I boost it up to 400 grams of rice with every single meal. Now, you can opt to do a cheat meal the night or the morning of this, the night before or the morning of this show. But if you're not used to having it, I wouldn't do it because your body is super sensitive. So if you're used to just eating clean, you had no cheat meals the whole prep, don't have one. That's a bad idea. You could spill over. You could react inappropriately. If you have gut issues, that's going to react with your physique. That's also going to stress you out and make you hold water, increase your cortisol. So you really don't want to have anything out of the norm. Like if you've been drinking energy drinks the whole time, you limit how many you have the morning of because you have to kind of limit your water intake. But, you know, keep it in. Like if you've been drinking coffee, keep it in. But if you haven't, don't do it because you don't know how it can change your physique, how it can react in your body. Not worth it. Okay? All right. So when you are an enhanced athlete, okay, you don't want to be running gear into the show, injectables anyway. You don't want to be doing that because when you do that, you hold water, especially when you're putting oil in your body. You're holding water. So you want to drop those no less than 10 days out. Some you might be able to keep until a week out, but you really just want to take those out. You'll be taking orals anyway, so you'll be maintaining your hormones through those. Okay, so take those out. Otherwise, you know you're gonna hold water on stage, no matter how much depletion of water you do. And if you deplete too much water, you take all that water out of that muscle. Okay. Then you're flat and pop and you look 2D on stage and you don't look as shredded. Okay, the 3D pop makes you look more shredded. Even if you're not as shredded as the person next to you who's flat. That makes sense. Okay. So, the night before. Okay, this is essential. Actually, let's talk about diuretics. I'll save that for after. So, there are diuretics you can take, like Diazide and Aldactone. I don't recommend them as they can have adverse effects on your physique. I've experienced that. I experienced it last year at the Universe, where my legs just kind of froze. My body didn't react appropriately to them, and I didn't place as well as I could because my legs, I couldn't flex them. So I had no feeling to them. They felt numb. So the diuretics did not work for me. So I don't do that anymore. Instead, what I do, like what I did for Miami, was I take vitamin C. Okay, starting 3 days out. I take 2,000 milligrams with every other meal. Okay, that helps clear the water. I also increase the amount of asparagus that I eat. I eat it with every meal. Okay, and asparagus is a natural diuretic. And the night before, after I have my last meal and I drink my last sip of water, I have 2 to 3 shots of tequila. Reason I choose tequila, and I am like an advocate for this stuff. Even on prep, you can have it. You just have to make sure you don't do it every day, and you have to make sure you don't overindulge. But you can still have tequila. Reason I'm saying is because it has a sugar in it that your body can break down. Okay, it's called agave. Right, agave has multitudes of benefits for the human body. It also does not disrupt metabolism. Okay, that's very important when you have alcohol, especially the night before the show. Like vodka's great, but you don't want to disrupt your metabolism, right? You don't want anything to go wrong. So tequila is obviously the best. If you're going to drink as your diuretic, that is the best route. I like to do it the night before. Some people like to do it right before stage. It's whatever you find works for you. It's going to take trial and error. You're going to have to do a few shows so you peak perfectly. Your first one, you're for sure not. Unless you just get lucky. But usually you won't ever peak right the first show. Not even your first, like I've done, I don't know, like 9 or 10 shows at this point, and I still haven't found my perfect peak. I've gotten close. The Mets that I just won the overall in bodybuilding as a middleweight, I got close to perfect peak, but I didn't fill out the way I wanted to because I held back on my carb intake and refeeding. So I won't be doing that for the Junior USAs, which is 20 days. I go for my pro card again. I'm also going to compete in bodybuilding. I'm going for it in classic, but I'm competing in bodybuilding. Can't get it in bodybuilding, unfortunately, but I still want to compete in it because it's fun. You know, I love this sport, so it doesn't matter if I go pro or not. I'm going to continue competing because I love it. Anyway, tequila the night before. I'll even have that when I do my refeeds now, so it helps maintain the water, so I don't hold water from the refeed, and it's great. Little tip of the trade. Okay, if you need something to unwind on prep and something no sugar and very low calorie, that's your best option, especially if you don't smoke pot, right? So, the morning of, okay, so the morning of is very important. You don't stress the fuck out. Okay, whatever you gotta do, don't stress, because you stress, your body's gonna change. All right, you need to go relax, listen to music, whatever, sit down backstage, just chill, eat your food, eat your meals, normal meals, and go and relax. Let's put on headphones, just chill, because the minute you stress, it's the minute you lose. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is try to limit your water intake. Take sips. Don't go crazy. Don't chug water. You're gonna be thirsty as fuck, especially after drinking 3 shots of tequila. You're depleted. Your water's depleted. So when your water is depleted, you want to keep that, unless you're having problems filling out with the carbs. Then you drink water with your meals. Okay. But don't start chugging water, because you want to keep that dryness. Okay? So, again, eat your normal food, right? Up until, I would say stop eating 2 hours before you line up. That's the only thing. So I would wake up extra early, 3 a.m., have your breakfast, go back to bed. And eat early so you can get a bunch of food in your body before you get on stage. Now, when you're lining up, it is not time to pump up, okay? Don't even do that when you're sitting backstage. You'll see other people do it. They're like men's physique competitors. They're not even like close to lining up. They got like 4 hours. Don't follow heat, okay? Wait until you see the stage when you're lined up. Then start pumping up. Bring a band with you. Because if you pump up too early, by the time you get on stage, you go flat, okay? It happened to me multiple times. I've learned, so I pump up as I'm closing into the show. I just do push-ups, band pull-aparts, rows with the band, tricep extensions, bicep curls, and shoulder raises, and I'll just run through those, okay? And not go crazy and try to start sweating. Just get a nice pump. Make sure that your carbon, you get a pump immediately if you peaked right. If you have to work to get this peak, you didn't peak right, okay? That's the lesson. Now, what has worked for me? All right, the Mets. I'm going to talk about the Mets because Mets is the most recent one that I did, and I had my opinion, one of the better peaks. So, I basically did how I said. With the water intake, dropped it, and had the 2 shots of tequila at night. I increased my rice from having 100 grams of rice with 3 meals to 140 with 5 the first day of my carb up 4 days out, and I dropped 3 pounds overnight. I went from being like 174 to like 171. And then I increased the carbs to 160 the next day. And I kept dropping weight. I was 170. I was 170 again. And then I increased it to 200 grams of rice per meal, which with 6 meals, which seems like a lot to most people. But for me, when I eat my off season, it's a crazy amount. So it's not a lot for me. I'm still starving after my meals. So what I should have done is increased it to 300 or 400 grams. Especially 2 days out. The last day I increased it to 250. And then I had a burger at night, pancakes in the morning, and a muffin an hour before I was going to pump up backstage. So all that really ended up working out, but I should have eaten more because I could have been bigger, I feel. And I didn't feel as big, so I know I could have been bigger. I saw pictures too, I looked awesome, but you're never really truly happy with what you... especially if you're a competitive person. Like, I compete with myself, so I look at that and I want to beat that already. I want to beat that package. So that I've already have. I'm bringing the best package that I've ever brought to a stage to juniors, so I'm very excited. It's the biggest, most complete, and definitely going to be the leanest that I've ever been. So very excited. So yeah, that's basically Peak Week in a nutshell. Just, you know, you're gonna need to figure it out. It is not all going to you're not going to know everything, even if you have a coach, because even that coach isn't going to know what works best for your peak. You're going to have to work with a coach for a while, or do it yourself. Like, I'm coaching myself this year. And I've learned my peak, what works, and I'm going to just do more of that rather than do something different. But yeah. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like, share. Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section, and I will be sure to reply. If you have any suggestions on any videos you'd like to hear about, please let me know. My next video I will be releasing probably next week. I'm going to try to be more consistent with this stuff, so maybe it'll be a workout video. So I'll be talking about the workouts in the gym, and then after I'll be going to do a breakdown of what I did, and then the nutrition of the day. Yeah. All right. Everybody have a good night.